Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Track. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing this with your friends. Today's episode is with my friend Aleta Brooke. Aleta was born in a small town in northern Saskatchewan, yay, and left nearly 30 years ago. She's had the opportunities to live and work in various cities in Canada, the US, Europe, and Asia. Aleta now lives in Calgary, WA, where she's looking to meet and build her network. She's certainly found the right place. Whether working or traveling, Aleta makes her priorities with her loved ones, follows the mantra with family and friends that it's about quality time, not always quantity time. Besides her loved ones, Aleta is most passionate about hiking, enjoying outdoor weather, preferably warm, wine tasting, travel, and continuous learning through reading a variety of topics, espionage, business, etc. Exciting. Friends, you'll find her full bio attached. Aleta, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with your audience. I have a dialogue I will be following to ensure I relay a message that others can connect with and or have similar passions, where we can stand united for opportunities. I will get into that shortly. So I wear a few hats at this time. However, I'll go back to how I got started on finding my passions and ensuring I tie them into feeling like I have been able to contribute in some way of helping the global community make this world a better place. Knowing I have been able to support an individual, a community, or an organization grow in some way, I feel is the best way to live my fulfilling journey. I often get asked how I ended up with the experience I have. Human resource, nuclear. Well, I got started in human resource roles more than a decade ago, when Indigenous stakeholder engagement, community consultation, inclusion in Canada was not as much of a priority as it is now. I was introduced to this niche as a human resource professional, where I could focus on bridging the gap between mining, construction, nonprofit organizations with Indigenous inclusion through employment, training, etc. I had the fortunate opportunity to work on projects in the high Arctic. Through my journey, it was apparent Canada has significant untapped resources in the North and Arctic, whether it be the people, infrastructure, etc. It was then and still is exciting to be working with teams to develop untapped resources of Canada. In HR, I initially focused on recruitment, strategies, training, and partnerships with Inuit, their organizations, etc. Many of these individuals had never worked in wage, salary, employment roles, and others who faced multiple social challenges in life and or both. I was able to see some incredible changes in people, their families, and communities, and my passion and interest built upon this. Not only focusing on the human element of our untapped resources, but it was also apparent as a first world country, there was a lack of clean water, drinking water, food availability, housing, astronomical food costs, where easily an item could be 10 times or more the cost than in the South, along with extreme poverty. This all equates to third world country conditions. Many of these have changed only minimally, if at all, and are still far from acceptable. As a Canadian, I was embarrassed. I believed and always felt that with public and private partnerships and synergies together, the opportunities with the people, infrastructure, and resources in the Arctic and the North are almost endless. I eventually ended up as acting vice president of a Inuit group of companies, where I spearheaded a restructuring of the businesses. That was my introduction to executive leadership, operations, and a real life MBA case study. From there, I was asked to join a private nuclear waste project started by the community, a bottom-up approach based on environmental principles that would offer transformational social and environmental changes, including opportunities for people and infrastructure development. Little did I know that as a kid, when I was in the underground uranium tunnels, nearly 400 meters below the surface, that I would be involved in nuclear from cradle to grave. My father had worked in the uranium mines for more than 20 years. Through the involvement at the World Nuclear Association, I have been able to meet some fantastic people, from private sector to member state representatives in the US, Europe, and Asia. Once the project phase was completed, I returned to Western Canada while the team focused on fundraising with success in the US. My job was to help lead the initial stages, earn international credibility, and start financing to augment founders' financing. I and my team succeeded at that. I have been involved in various energy projects for the last several years, from nuclear to small modular reactors or SMRs to solar and wind. My experience has shown me firsthand criticality of passion on topics such as climate change, Arctic environment, inclusion, and diversity. So the top 3 things I would like to share with our audience today are the opportunities we have to build our resources in Northern and Arctic Canada. This is critical through partnerships with the private and public sector. Also, we have a lot of work to do on inclusion and diversity, allowing more opportunities for women, Indigenous people, and visible minority. And lastly, ensuring the inclusion into senior level operational and executive roles in energy, mining, construction. We can do much better. What opportunity do I see on the horizon for us, Catherine? Well, as a country, we have barely scraped the surface for change in these areas. I am humble and grateful as a woman with my past experience. I hear change, but let's see change today. Increase our board members focusing on inclusion. Provide senior executive leadership for women, Indigenous, and minority groups. And provide mentorship opportunities so the information will not be lost from the generation that will be retiring in the next 10 to 15 years. We are a country that others look up to, and we need to continue to be a solid role model for critical changes in our global community. Vulnerability is a place of innovation, creativity, and change. I cannot think of a better place to be than here at this time in history.
Wow. And I want to make sure that you stay here. That's exactly the reasons why we need you here in Calgary, Aleta. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you so much for joining us on Cat's Track. Everyone, do your best to get Aleta networked as wide as possible. How exciting. Thank you, Aleta. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.